I've always enjoyed finding the etymology, the origin of words and phrases, and when we hear today's gospel, we have one of those phrases, a wolf in sheep's clothing. And origins come from the days of herding, of shepherding, of agriculture, when thieves would take sheepskin and put it over themselves. They would come into the pasture at night and they would disguise themselves in the sheep's clothing, the sheep's wool, sheepskin, and wait until the cover of darkness and then steal the sheep from the shepherd. And thus the term a sheep and a wolf in sheep's clothing came to be. And indeed, Jesus warned his disciples of false prophets. Certainly prophets came and went in the time of Jesus. Prophets were revered, they were listened to, they were followed in many ways, especially if they had exhibited some sort of power, some sort of authority, some sort of knowledge that others didn't have. But they were being led down wrong paths. The true prophets are ones that led people to God and that led them to a fuller life with God. And we will know them by their fruits, Jesus tells us. In other words, kind of wait them out, see how they live, see how they carry themselves, and do their actions match their words? In other words, does the fruit that they bear match the words that they offer, the promises that they offer? And if it does not, they are like grapes picked from thorn bushes or figs picked from thistles. You know, that whole idea of, obviously we would not go to these places to pick figs and grapes, and we would never pick bad fruit. That was, of course, one of the challenges with Adam and Eve, is the fact that they were given care of all the plants and trees and fruits and all the food available to them in the garden, but they were told not to eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And so what did the devil do? The devil presented this as a good, the fact that if they ate this, it would be good for them. We know how that turned out. And so they were banished from the garden because of their disobedience, because of their hubris, and because of the fact that they thought they knew more than God, as the devil did. And the way it was presented to them was as a good. And so often we might see something in front of us. We might see an opportunity. We might see a particular item that we think, well, that's going to be good for me. That's going to help me. And it may for a time, but certainly as a people of faith, we would do well to bring these things to prayer, to bring these opportunities to prayer, to see if indeed that they will bear good fruit, because of the fact that even things that seem good on the surface may not be good at its roots, and that a good tree produces good fruits and a bad tree produces rotten fruits and bad fruits. And so those trees that do not produce good fruits will be cut down, thrown into the fire. And this is an allusion towards Gehenna. This is an allusion towards the eternal fire. That if we do not produce good fruits, if we as people do not produce good fruits, then we will indeed be thrown into the fire, if you will. And we will be separated from God, something that none of us wants, certainly. But we would do well to pray for the gift of discernment, to pray for that opportunity, to pray over these opportunities that are presented to us, to give them to God, to offer them to God, to bring God into that discernment process, so that the decisions that we make, the choices that we make, the routes that we choose to walk are ones that will lead ultimately to the kingdom, ultimately lead to a deeper relationship with the Lord, and help us to grow in faith, in hope, and in love. As a people of faith, we would do well to listen to those prophetic voices that help us, that lead us to all truth, to lead us to the fullness of truth found in God. And we would do well to use our prophetic voice to speak these truths in love, to again ask for the gift of wisdom, ask for the gift of discernment, to say the words that need to be said in a way that they can be heard and that they can take root in other people's lives that we are called to help and we're called to serve. May we, as the people of faith, as we continue our journey in faith, may we come to recognize the opportunity God gives to us each and every day. May we, in these opportunities, continue to bear good fruit so as to grow in our relationship with God, to grow in faith, in hope, and in love.